Bonjour, bonjour. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm at a really special place. I am up here at the Gobelins, which is where they used to make tapestries, and this is now where they restore tapestries and also rugs, and the Mobilier is actually nearby here too, which is what holds all the furniture that used to be their job was to hold the furniture for the kings, and now it holds stuff that they use in Élysée Palace and other government buildings. But what's really amazing is these paintings here are from Notre Dame, and these are all the restored paintings from Notre Dame, specifically what is called the Les Maze. And then the Maze, or M-A-Y-S, Maze, because on May 1st every year they donated a painting to Notre Dame. So it just opened, and I came in here really quickly. And so you have this first room, which has a couple of the paintings. There's also paintings in here that did not just belong to Notre Dame, but they used to hang in the nave like that. This is a great, you could see part of the Jube screen there. It's no longer there, or Rude screen. They go by two different names. But we'll pop in here because look at these. So fantastic. I love all of these. And it's really interesting how they have them hanging, because they're not really in any sort of a certain order. I thought maybe they were chronologically added, but they weren't, and they aren't maybe the way that they'd be in the chapel, and they're not. So I'm not sure why they hang them this way, but they're still pretty amazing. So the first one here is 1635, and this was done by Laurent de la Hare. And on the bottom side, it has the coat of arms of the two men that commissioned these. And I'll tell you a little bit about how this all came to be. But what's really amazing, I'll show you the next one is by Charles Le Brun, so the painter of the king. This is 1651, and it is the stoning of Saint Etienne. So Saint Etienne, if you know Saint Etienne du Mont, that was his martyrdom. He was stoned to death. But what's really amazing about this exhibit is sometimes they have sketches up here, but they also have this little, so here's the after, here's the before. And you can see on here all the little parts, but here's the after. Isn't that amazing? It's just, and nobody comes here. If you could tell, there's really not many people here. This gorgeous one is the Crucifixion of Saint Pierre. Saint Pierre is depicted in the set of paintings more than any other saint. And this is interesting because it's at that diagonal. So it was stepping away, even though this was done in 1643. It is done in a not kind of stepping away from some of the academic rules. I love this one with the columns. I have been researching these paintings and everything about them for about 2 weeks now. I've always been obsessed with these paintings, and there's some of them that aren't in Notre Dame. They're in other places, and I'm going to go find them all. But this one here is this is the May of 1642, and it's a preaching of Saint Pierre in Jerusalem. And look at those columns. Those columns are just so cool. And again, you have initials of the people that were working on it. Go back over to this side, show you the maze first. There's more stuff upstairs too. This is the May of 1639. It's by Aubin Vouet. And it is the Centurion Cornelius at the feet of St. Peter. These were in such bad shape prior to the fire. There were some of them that were so dark and kind of inside chapels, you couldn't really see them. This is the conversion of St. Paul. St. Paul got a moment. And this is a 1637. Just look at that. and it's by Laurent Dallaire. He did 4 paintings of the Lemais. This is the one I remember. I remember this one specifically because it was the first one in when you walked in to the cathedral on the right-hand side, the first chapel. And it's the martyrdom of Saint Andre, so it's Saint Andrew. And if you know the story about Saint Andrew, he was crucified on a cross that was shaped more like an X than a traditional cross. And it was the first May that Charles Lebrun did. Look at that, this is amazing. And this one I really like, this Jacques Blanchard, and it is the Descent of Saint Esprit, and that is the Holy Spirit up there, where it's just kind of the little smoke kind of almost up there. They did so much work on the restoring of these paintings. It's pretty amazing. I mean, some of them were just in such bad condition. I need to go back and find all my photos from before and show you, because it was pretty bad. We'll go here to the other side. Look at that, just look at the colors. The dog, because he's growling. Usually in art, when you see a dog growling, it's kind of warning, giving a warning. This is the birth of the Virgin. This was on the night of the fire. This is 1642. It's not part of the Lemais, but it was in Notre Dame, and there's paintings upstairs that were also in Notre Dame. But this was there's only 2 paintings taken out of the cathedral that night. So you have this one here, 1687. Louis Charon. You can see. It's one of the largest ones, and this is the only one that has the Holy Spirit depicted on it in the form of a bird. Matthew Elias did this. It's a 1702, the May of 1702. Look at, I love the light of like the fire. It's the sons of Sceva, when they're being beaten, which is nice. The flagellation of Saint Paul, May of 1655, by Louis Testelin. I love how there's certain ones that really incorporate a lot of the architecture. Look at this. I'll show you. This is another pretty amazing thing. So on this side, Gabriel Blanchard. Walk in front of these people. 1670, Saint Andre. And the last one down here, 1650. Nicolas Loire, and it's Saint Paul blinding the false prophet. More architecture up there. They also have these great videos in here that explain the process in here of how you do it, and it's in like 5 different languages. It's really fantastic. On the back side of this, it breaks down all of the pieces. So one of the first things, there was a book that was put together. These are mostly forgotten until the 19th century, and then there was a book written that kind of that explained and described all of the paintings. Here's another one of the before and afters here. The one of, you could see kind of this halfway. But just look at the difference in the color. So amazing. But it lists every one of them here. There were 76 of them. 24 are missing or destroyed. Notre Dame had 13. There's a church up in Arras, which I'm dying to go to. Or not a church, but a museum that I'm dying to go see. And they have 14 of them. And then there's one in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, right in Paris. And then there's quite a few other ones just kind of scattered throughout the city. There's a few, or the country, there's some in Lyon. But look at these. And they've never been this clean. But they're pretty fantastic. So they go back to, they started 1630, they went to 1707, and it was done by the Goldsmith Guild of Paris. And this was an organization that was put together by goldsmiths, of course. And they decided every year on May 1st that they would donate a painting to the Notre Dame in their name. And so it started a year in advance. And so they'd ask a few artists to give them ideas. They had them so that it was all, most of them at first were all based on the Acts of the Apostles. And so every year they would set in their designs and what they wanted to do. They would choose them. 2 people would choose them. That's why you have, sometimes they have initials, 2 different initials. They would choose the painting, and then they had pretty much a year to finish it. So every year on April 30th, they would bring it in and it would be displayed at midnight, so May 1st at midnight, and it would be in one of the back chapels, and then the next day they'd bring it out and hang it on the pillar right by the altar, and so it would stay there, and then they'd put them into the church. And so for quite a long time they had them in the church, and then they moved them, they started to move them around because there was just too many of them. Over time, they've been in many different places. They were taken out during the Revolution, and they were put into the Louvre for a while. Then the Louvre moved them. 1802 is when Napoleon signed to have them come back. So a lot of paintings were returned to Notre Dame. And I'll have a whole lot more about this on the podcast episode tomorrow, going into a lot more details about all of that. But stunning. None of them were in their original frames anymore when the fire happened. All of them, and some of them, about 8 of them, the frames have been completely replaced. They tried for a while to, you could see just from here, the other ones are kind of the same size. The four of the ones back here are the largest that they had in the collection. But again, they kind of fell out of favor. I think they're just amazing, but they fell out of favor for a while. And then in 1708, Robert de Cotte, who went in and did a lot of work, he's the one who got rid of the juke screen. He did a lot of things. He's the one that kind of got rid of them for a while. And then mid 18th century, they were being talked about again. But the night of the fire, here, I'll switch to the other side so you guys can see another version while I sit here and tell you the stories. So the night of the fire, 2 of them were taken out, 2 paintings. One of the Lemais and then the Birth of the Virgin that I showed you. They were taken out of the church. And then, but the 8 of them were taken out on the 15th or the 19th of April, and then the rest were taken out on the 24th. And basically, because these paintings, it's canvas, but they're on a wood support or stretcher on the back. Those are what it ended up getting some, because of the humidity, and the church was just filled with water. And then, of course, the water is still in there in the air for days, and the humidity started to warp actually the wooden structure and some of the canvases. and I'll take you upstairs and show you more, and then show you a little bit about the process of how they restored these, which for me, I think is absolutely amazing and fascinating. Look at this, aren't they great? All right, let's venture upstairs. Up here, these, and I'll show you a little bit more about these in our room. These are the tapestries of the life of the Virgin, created for Notre Dame. No longer in Notre Dame, but I'll show you a little bit about those. But hello, one of the most amazing staircases. So this room includes some other paintings that were also in Notre Dame. And these two pieces are all that's left of a painting that was once in Notre Dame. These are in the care of the Louvre now. But it was for the glory of the saints, and so it was a massive painting that had a ton of saints in it. You could see kind of a drawing here, if you could see that very well. And they found them at an auction in the 1980s and purchased them. But you have this video showing. So there's a company called the Mobilier, and they are trained in how to do everything and move anything with art. And so they were the ones brought in to do all of this. And they set up a special hanger, and in this hanger, it had these massive structures that they could hang the art on and pull them out. Huge tables, perfect conditions to work on the paintings. I guess if you could read Japanese. But here they are working on the frames. Look at that. But here they have all these great pictures. So here's the structure that they had. Just huge, so they could hang all of the 24 paintings. Sometimes taking 10 people to move these. So with the restoration process, the first thing they do, there's 4 stages, and the first thing they do is they scientifically look at it to inspect it, to see what needs to be done. That's done by the C2RMF, and that is a group that is, they're building, they're actually in the Louvre building itself, and they go and they have everything there, infrared, ultraviolet, everything that they have to look into the paintings, and that tells them a lot. It tells them about previous restorations. There's a before and after. And here's this is a great little thing. So it tells you the different layers. So you also have, it's just not one layer of canvas. It's multiple layers, and they're glued on, and so they will actually take off the old layers and redo it. And when they do that, they have to turn them over. So they have to have these massive tables created. And then they'll even, sometimes on them so big, they'll have to create something so they could actually get into the middle of the painting, onto the back of it. That's what they put on that paper. What they put on is called rice paper. And it's just a really, really thin paper that doesn't do any damage. They could just put it on with water and attaches to the painting and secures it. And so if they need to, they will put a new backing on it, put a new frame, put everything on there. Look at that, isn't that interesting? But these, it was just a great opportunity, just like they've had with everything. Unfortunately, with the fire, I've had this great opportunity to take everything out and restore it. We probably wouldn't see these all restored in our lifetime if it wasn't for the fire. Ultraviolet, infrared. On some of these, they actually will find other figures in the back. And it's all different. They use different solvents, so sometimes just has water and a little bit of soap, and they'll test it on the edge of the painting first to make sure it's okay, and then they'll go in and clean it. That's kind of the third step in the whole thing. The fourth step is when they put everything back together with the actual backing, if they have to layer the canvas. But so these are the tapestries of the life of the Virgin. They were created. At the Savonnerie, which used to be where Chaillot is, which is basically over where the Tokyo, the museum, the Palais de Tokyo, the Modern Art Museum, and then that ended up getting absorbed later with the Gobelins here after the 1830 revolution. But you have a few more of them in here. So we only have 6 of the ones, but there is a great little the birth of the Virgin, presentation of the temple, the marriage, Annunciation, visitation, birth, adoration of the shepherds. These actually now all, they were purchased by the Cathedral in Strasbourg. Purification, flight to Europe, to Egypt, Jesus with the doctors, the wedding feast of Cana, much different than the painting in the Louvre. Really amazing. And in these, you have the coat of arms, because these were ordered by Cardinal Richelieu. So they date back to from 1638 to 1657, and up there at the very top, you have the cipher of Cardinal Richelieu, and then also his coat of arms. I think these tapestries get really overlooked a lot, and that there's a few of them in the Louvre, and they're just amazing. This is a really cool place to come. It's not really a museum, it's just kind of has special exhibits every once in a while, but it's really amazing to come and see all of them. And also in this room are examples of the furniture that's going to now be in Notre Dame. Ma'am, I don't think you should be touching that. So this is the baptism. It's gonna go up into kind of the middle. This is done by Guillaume Bardet. He's doing a lot of the furniture. These are going to be the chairs. By Yuna Vautrin. So they have kind of these low backs. And then you have the other, so for the altar, I don't know. I don't love it. I'm not a modern. But these are also by Bardet. That's the new altar. And guess what else is here, guys? Part of the carpet. So it's on display here. I don't know if you have come in the past years to, I think it was 3 years ago I saw it for the first time. They brought it out when it was here. Here's one more piece. For the tabernacle. I don't know, it's kind of cool. Here is look at that inside. All of this now is done, as you know. All of this is clean and done. Okay, right here, look at this. That's only part of it. It's only the top part. And so this is the carpet. So it was done between 1825 and 1831, ordered by Charles X. It was not finished because then he was ousted in the July Revolution. And so what he wanted was it to have a Gothic stained glass look to it. And I'll go up at the top and show you a little closer. But it was finally used for the wedding of Napoleon III in 1853, and then the baptism of his son in 1856. And then it came out more recently in 1980 for Pope John Paul II, and then it had also been used in 1896 for Tsar Nicola. But it's pretty amazing. I'm trying to give this gentleman some space. Let me show you this piece back here. So this is a actual carton, is what it's called. It's the drawing of a piece that used to be originally in the carpet, the Charles X. This is not the carpet. This is actually the sketching, and it's kind of on a canvas. This has been partially restored. But then it was replaced. So here's the whole thing. Picture of the entire thing. And so the top part of it that we see here today has been restored since the summer of 2022 until the fall of last year. And they're restoring this whole bottom part now. And it was actually in pretty good shape. But here you are. Look at that. And all of these pieces, including the carpet, the tapestries, the paintings, between the 1970s and the 1990s, they were all made pieces of the National Monument. So it's not just the actual church itself, but it's everything. A lot of pieces that are in it are deemed important enough to be part of the National Monument. Here's some of the furniture again. I don't know, what do you guys think? I went to the Strasbourg Cathedral last year. I did not see these. So one thing they're doing is completely changing the layout of the church. And this shows you what it's going to become. It's now going to change where you're going to come in the front middle door instead of coming in this door. Now that's the exit. And then you're going to go in and go that way through the church. And they have it changed for everything. So I will have to wait to see because a lot of these are all painted. The walls are painted, everything in here is painted and decorated on the wall itself with what the chapel used to be. So I'm not really sure how they're changing that, because Saint-Geneviève used to be over on this side and now she's over here and she's painted on the walls, and so they might, I guess they're just gonna maybe leave that. But this is showing you where all of the paintings are gonna go. And of course, because I'm a super nerd, I have that all written down now. And then where the other paintings are. And these are the pieces of the furniture. Only 5 more months. 5 months and some change. You gotta look at these tapestries. So amazing. This is such a great place to visit. If there's something, if there's special, there's a special exhibit going on, definitely come and check it out. I'll give you another little walk through downstairs and then show you a couple things outside. And still, it's open. It's a little busier. The first time I came here is I came here to the pre-press opening, which was fun. Look at these. Has anybody been here? Have you guys been here before? Look. Oh. So amazing. But it's just really cool, the information they have. Sometimes how they have the actual sketch or the drawing, or they have pieces, some of which live in the Louvre. The Louvre, the Louvre also has 8 of them, only 2 on display. The other 6 are in really, really bad shape, so hopefully maybe they'll get those redone sometime. We seem to only catch it when it's in Japanese. Or Chinese. What's really cool about this is you have a lot of, younger people, these girls, men and women in their 20s that are working on this. And I'll tell you a little bit more about some of the restoration on them when I get outside. It's pretty fantastic. It's just so well done. It's just really fantastic. All right, let's pop outside. Just outside the door, and the property is huge. There's quite a few different buildings on here, but if you come out here, you get to see the statue of Charles Le Grand. Painter to the king, painter, decorator. Think of Versailles, Galerie d'Apollon, created the Royal Academy. But look at this pretty. This is up in the 13th is where this is. So it's not exactly in the, center of the city. Take you out front too. So here I am now on the outside of the building. Dates back to 1667. All the different, it's pretty amazing, all the different steps in the process. Look how beautiful this is. So really, it's very quiet up here. There is a metro exit right in front of it. So it's really easy to get here on the 7. Drops you right off in front. But it's definitely a place to come and see if they're doing an exhibit when you're here. This is also a great place to see on that weekend in September. My favorite Patrimoine, as you all know, my Super Bowl weekend. And they open up the Mobilier, which is not normally open, which is kind of back and around the corner. It's about a 7 or 8 minute walk from here through the neighborhoods to get to the Mobilier. But it is amazing. Some of the pieces from the Mobilier they just added to the Louvre. And so I'm going to show you that in the next couple weeks with what they redid at the apartments of Napoleon III. It's some pieces they added that are on loan from the Mobilier. But it's just really great. It's great. Take your time if you're coming. It goes until the 21st of July. But come here if you are going to be in Paris. If not, just you can watch all of this. And then also listen to the podcast that's going to come out tomorrow, which is July 1st. And I'll share even more about this and more about the process, what they do, how they restore paintings. And it's really amazing because they actually are doing, they just say that they're just their own little part of the history of these pieces. And they are just trying to bring out the original intent. Other restorers over time were doing, adding their own, which is what we recently found on Delacroix's Liberty Leading the People. They found that maybe the restorers were adding their own little artistic touches to it. And so restoration now is they're honoring that original piece and the original artist's intent. Back when they first were restoring these, they have been restored before. It's not that they haven't been restored in 400 years, but they used to have, up until you got into the 20th century, it used to be restored by other painters. And I don't think that they were probably as skilled in the art of restoration. Maybe some of them were, but so now they are done by entire restoration departments. There was 3 major ones that worked on these for Notre Dame. 22 paintings. It took 24 months of 50 restorers working on them, but they are stunning and amazing, and I hope you enjoyed seeing all of them. But again, listen to the podcast tomorrow and make sure to check out my website, because I will put a picture of each and every one of these on my website, give you a little bit more details about each one of them and share those with you. But if you do come to Paris, when you do come to Paris, try to come up here and visit this. It's really lovely. It's really beautiful. It's not a lot of people come, even though there's been a ton of press about this and trying to get the word out. It's still not very busy, which is great. And the lovely security guy, he was so nice. He let me go pop back into the back and take some pictures. I didn't want to pull out my gimbal and start trying to make videos when he was being nice enough to let me where, you're not supposed to go. But like it says, Simon Vouet up there, the second name. He and also Noël Coipel, they both did paintings that are there inside Notre Dame. How about that? All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. If you want to support the channel, you could join my Patreon, which I've been posting some small little videos during the week there of things I see in the city. Or you could send a tip to Claudine at ClaudineHemingway.com. Your support is gratefully appreciated. Thanks, guys.